What's up, everybody? This is Chassidy. Thank you for clicking on this video. So today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I got over him. Let's be real. How I got over his ass, girl. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. If you've seen my divorce the healing process video, this is in a sense almost the next phase, the next steps that I took in healing and getting over his ass. Again, I'm sharing my story, and I'm not sorry to those who might be tired of hearing this topic or think that I'm talking about this topic too much. That's fine. I don't care. I'm going to finish all my thoughts and get out everything that I can as far as what I went through and how I helped my healing process. And I want to do that, and I keep saying I want to do that just in hopes of helping somebody, because I remember laying on the floor crying my fucking eyes out and not even feeling like I can breathe, and literally going on YouTube and searching how to deal with a breakup, how to get over him, you know, how to be Christian and divorced. I remember searching all those things, and so I feel like I owe it to somebody. Somebody is going through what I went through, and maybe these tips will help. Or maybe me talking about what I went through will make them not feel alone. So if you're tired of me talking about this, that's fine. Go watch one of my other videos. Okay, so a quick recap. I was married for about 8 years or so, and the marriage ended abruptly. So I was still 100% in the marriage. I was still in love, and abruptly, my ex showed me that he no longer wanted to be in the marriage. And you can use your imagination to come up with whatever scene you want to in your mind of how he displayed that he no longer wanted to be with me. So essentially he left the marriage, and for a long time I fought for him and I tried to get him back, even though he had moved on. Now, what I'm talking about today is the point where I came when I was like, why am I doing this? It's time to move on. I'm not even worried about his ass no more. So that's where I want you to get your mind right. This is what I'm talking about. So the first thing that really helped me with moving forward in my healing process and being single, I guess you can say, was I accepted the fact that I was getting a divorce. I accepted the fact that, you know, we were broken up. And I then made the decision to no longer fight for him, to be done with the relationship. I made the decision that I no longer wanted to be with him anymore. And this is important because I was in a lingering phase for a very long time. So some days I would wake up and be like, no, man, he's going through something. And as a good wife, I need to fight for him. I need to fight and fight and fight. And, you know, I'm not ready for this relationship to end. And other days I would wake up like, I'm a good girl and I never did anything wrong, so why would I fight for somebody who, you know, did the things that he did? So it was like a huge emotional roller coaster, and it was almost like I couldn't move forward because I didn't know what direction I wanted to take. Did I want to be single, or did I want to continue to fight for my marriage? So now hear me out. I have to say this. It took me about 6 to 9-ish months before I made this decision, before I was like, okay, no, I'm done. I gave it everything I can, and I can always look back and say I fought on hands and fucking knees for my marriage. It took a long time, so by no means am I saying come to a decision quick so you can move on, so you can heal. By no means. I allowed myself to take that much time because I didn't want to have any regrets. I never wanted to look back and say I should have fought harder for him. I should have fought harder for our marriage. I never wanted to have that regret. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being irrational, that emotions weren't heightened, and I was making a decision just simply off of heightened emotions or the situation at hand. I really wanted to think it through, and I really wanted to process the situation before I decided that I was done. I mean, divorce is a big deal. It is a big deal, and it's a painful fucking deal. Going from thinking that you're going to be with this person for the rest of your life to not even having communication with them. So it wasn't a decision that I made easily or quickly, but once I did finally get to that point, that's when the healing really began. And that's what I said in the last video, but I needed to reiterate it here. That's when the healing really began, and that's when I was able to start moving forward. Okay? Okay, so the next thing that really helped me with moving forward was, this is so important. This is so good, but this is so important. This was a vital part of me healing. I let go of the need for closure. This was so important for me. It was so important. I think, especially women, as soon as there's a breakup, for whatever reason, the first thing we want to do is question ourselves and figure out what's wrong with us and why us. So I did that. You know, I am no exception. I did that for a long time. I even posed those questions to him, and I never received an answer. And it took a long time. But when I made that decision to no longer be with him, I realized that understanding why he no longer wanted to be with me, or understanding his point of view in the situation or the end to our relationship, wasn't going to change anything. It wasn't going to change anything. It doesn't change who I am as a person. You know, I definitely went through those thoughts like, maybe if I know, then, you know, I could be a better girlfriend or wife to somebody in the future. But then I had to tell myself, look, what my ex didn't like about me, the next guy, he might love it, okay? It might be his favorite thing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, every relationship's different, and the way the love works in every relationship is totally different. So I told myself that, and I learned that, and I recognized that. And once those concepts started going through my head, I realized that there was no fucking need for me to know, for him to tell me what it is that he doesn't like about me, or what his reason for not wanting to be with me is. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to know. I do not need to know. I don't want to be with you anymore, so why would I need to know why you don't want to be with me? So I let go of the need for closure, and that really helped me in the process of healing and moving forward. So another thing that I did was, I blocked his ass, girl. I blocked his ass. I blocked him on everything. So yeah, my situation's a little different. He wasn't reaching out to me or calling me off the hook or trying to get me back or anything like that. So yes, my situation's a little different than probably most people who block their exes. But occasionally seeing him, you know, look at my IG stories or my Snapchats, or like a photo or leave a comment or anything like that, all it did was make me think of him, put him back on my brain. So I blocked him on everything. I blocked him on the phone. I blocked him on all social media handles. And I'm not saying this was easy. Shit, none of these things that I'm talking to you about, none of these steps that I took in my healing process were easy. Let me say that first. This was no exception. This was not easy at all, especially when I blocked him on the phone. The first thing my mind went to was, what if there's an emergency? And that's definitely what happens, especially when you've been with somebody for so long, when you're their person for so long. So that thought process definitely went through my head. What if there's an emergency and he needs to get a hold of me? Listen, I had to coach myself here. Look, Chassidy, he had an emergency contact before your ass, okay? So that's what I had to continue to tell myself. Like, before I came around, before I was his wife, he had an emergency contact. And even if he didn't, before he made the decision to end the relationship, he should have thought of that. He should have thought of who was going to be his emergency contact. You know, that's just one of those things that you lose when you no longer want to be with a person. You know, they're no longer down for you. And, you know, so I had to block him on everything so I wouldn't think of him. Okay. Another thing that I did was I changed the channel. Now this means multiple things, but it is also very literal. whenever I heard a song on the radio that was about love, that was about breakups, that reminded me of him, I had to change the channel. Now, I love music. I love music. You guys know this. I tell you all the time, like in every video, I tell you how much I love music. I missed out on a lot of songs for a good minute, okay? But it was so necessary in my healing process. I wanted to do everything I possibly could to not think of his ass, and that's real. I didn't want him on my mind. I didn't want to replay, you know, the breakup over and over and over. And listening to a song that describes a breakup or describes love or describes, you know, anything that makes me think of him, all it did was brought up those thoughts and emotions again. So for a long time, I changed the radio station. And that's the same like with TV. If there was a movie that I needed to change, you know, if there was a location that I went, you know, that maybe reminded me of him, maybe that we went to, you know, restaurants that we went to a lot or stuff, you know, I stayed away from those restaurants. And I know it's difficult. I know the first thing that you might be thinking, and it was definitely something that I thought, was why would I need to change my life around for him? Like, why would I need to do that? But the case is, I wasn't. I was trying to heal. I was trying to change my life and make decisions so I could be better. And now it wasn't easy, but it wasn't forever, okay? So it was just until I got to the point where those things didn't faze me anymore. So for a long time I did those things, and now I can listen to songs and it'd be no problem at all, okay? I can go places where we've been before and forget that we went there. You know what I'm saying? So I changed a mess. So I changed the channel, okay? Another thing that I did, and again, it's hard, and I cannot say this enough. This is just not an easy process. It's not an easy process from emotions. It's not an easy process in recreating your life. It's not an easy process in nothing. Nothing makes this easy. But the next thing I did was I broke up with his family, and I made sure that my family broke up with him. Again, you know, these are people that became your family, or in my instance became my family. I spent holidays with them. I spent birthdays with them. I was really close with them. So it was not easy. And I'm not saying by any means be disrespectful. I was never disrespectful. Never, 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 and never will be. But gradually you lower conversation more and more and more until there's no longer conversation. It was definitely easy, you know, with me and his family, because, you know, they're definitely, you know, ride or die team him, which is totally understandable. But it took a little bit longer with my family, and having to let them know that I needed them, you know, to break up with him too, because they loved him. And, you know, I don't blame them at all. You know, they meant well. They definitely meant well. But I think what happens is I put on an exterior, you know, that I was good and some things didn't faze me. And, you know, we'll say I have a good poker face, but I don't know how to play poker. But it could be the soldier in me, it could be the military in me, where I didn't show emotions in those situations. But the truth was, if my family asked about him or they spoke about him, it would just make me think about him and put me in a bad place again. Or make me, you know, take a few steps back in my healing process. So I asked my brother to talk to my family about it, and, you know, they totally understood. And, you know, like I said, they loved him and they still love him, but they realized, you know, that they're team Chassidy, and whatever they could do to help me heal, they did. And so that was the next thing I did that really helped my healing process. I broke up with his family, and I had my family break up with him. Okay, and the last thing, and again, this is another one that I talked about in the last video, but it's important throughout the entire healing process, so I'm going to talk about it again. And that is, you have to keep yourself busy getting better. An idle mind is the devil's playground. So you don't want to be sitting there allowing yourself to muster up these thoughts, to, you know, think of those feelings or put yourself in a negative situation again. It was really helpful for me. You know, I was working full time. I was going to school. You know, I hung out with my friends as much as I could. I went to so many concerts last year. I did everything I could to A, have a good time, B, better myself, and C, keep my mind off of him, keep my mind occupied. And that's even, you know what, let me give you a tip within this tip, okay? At night, I went 8 years with sleeping with somebody to sleeping, alone at night. So I had to, start watching TV at night. I've seen every Bob Ross painting show. But I put something on the TV at night, so at night my thoughts wouldn't even keep me up anymore. So whatever it takes to keep your mind occupied, so you don't find yourself thinking about him again, I promise you it will help tremendously. And definitely if you can keep yourself occupied getting better, not doing things that you'll regret, but doing things that you're like, yes, I'm a better person because of this. I spent a lot of time at church. Like I said before, I spent a lot of time at conferences, hanging out with friends, spending time with family. I just kept myself busy getting better. Okay, so that's the last thing. Again, I don't expect these steps to apply to everybody. Everybody's situation is totally different, but I wanted to share mine because maybe your situation is the same as mine. Maybe you're in the midst of it, and you know what? I remember it like yesterday, looking for all these resources, people who were in the same situation as me. And so while some people might be tired of me talking about the subject or think that I am dwelling on the subject, I'm not. I've just been there, and I hope to be there for somebody who is going through this situation, and I want you to know that the worst advice ever is the greatest advice ever, and it's time heals all wounds. These steps will literally just help you be in a more positive situation while the time passes, but the time will heal your wound. And I don't care what the cause of the breakup was. You are amazing. You are worthy. And your best life is right around the corner. Your best life is right around the corner, okay? I promise you, hang in there, because you know what? I've never felt better. I have never felt better, and I never thought it would. 2 years ago, I would have never, a year ago, when I was in the midst of it, I would have never thought that it was possible to feel this good again, but it absolutely is. So hang in there, hang in there. What's next? Because of these steps, and like I said, I wanted to do whatever I can, specifically the change the channel step. I've never read probably 90% of the messages that were left under my Divorce the Healing Process video. And if you've commented on some of my other videos, you know that I respond to comments as quickly as I possibly can, but for the most part, I respond to comments. But because I didn't want to bring myself back to that situation, I have yet to read those comments, but I promise you I'm going to start. And I'm sorry if it's too late, but I will be responding to those comments. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, or if you have any questions about what I've been through, or if you have any questions for me, or if you'd like me to make a video about something, relative to this subject, please leave it in the comments below. I will do my best to accommodate. What's next is the highly requested dating after divorce video. So I've been asked so many times to do that video, and I have some good stuff to tell you guys. So I am going to do that video next. This isn't an exciting video, so I'm not gonna say if you like this video, like this video, but how about if you like me, then like this video. If you're just nice, then like this video. Please subscribe. Again, my name is Chassidy. Until next time, deuces.